Well, we're gonna have to call an audible because over this past weekend, I have fallen like in love with Breath of the Waifu, aka Genshin Impact. I love that term, Breath of the Waifu. It just feels so appropriate, and honestly, I think Lisa is probably the best character so far in the game. But there is some issues, there are some controversy, especially as it relates to Genshin Impact. It is a free-to-play game, and so I told you, Chris, to go and play it. And you asked, should you play it on PlayStation? And I'm going to let you kind of take over from there for a minute because there's a lot that we need to discuss about Genshin Impact.
Yeah, so we tried a free-to-play game over on PlayStation, I don't know, maybe a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I put a post out on it, and then I put a sponsored post out on it from the game, trying it, and like I really enjoyed it, and it reminded me a lot of Genshin Impact.
Mm-hmm.
If you took Genshin Impact and if you took that game and you combined it with Breath of the Wild, and ultimately, I always kind of intended to go back to it, but it kind of fell into that same bucket as like Warframe and all these other games where like I just don't find the time. And so I asked myself like, why not? And I think it has to do with where you play. When you talk about an MMO, like the premier experience is your big monitor, your powerful computer, and then from there it drops to the console you use most often. And my friends are on Xbox, and so Xbox tends to take priority. And then from there it drops to other consoles. And it's like, okay, well, what else is drawing me to those consoles? And so PlayStation and Switch come into play, and the Switch can do something that my Xbox and my computer cannot. It can give me a handheld experience that is so much better than a phone, and I can take it anywhere. And so it has a place, but ultimately, when I'm sitting at home and I have access to my computer, and then I'm in the chair I'm in right now, I'm either playing Xbox or computer, and PlayStation and Switch just tend to like fall way down. Where something really special like Final Fantasy XVI would have to come out to make me turn that console on.
So what's really interesting and what we're waiting to find out is how Nintendo, the Switch specifically, handles Genshin Impact. Because as you said, like being locked away to the PlayStation is somewhat problematic. And for those who don't think it is, just note that I've posted a couple of guides over on Ginger Prime. I'll include them in the description of this video if you want to check them out, about how to link your accounts for crossplay, how to link your account for cross save, how to like get some free codes for some primo gems, things like that. And everybody in the PC, Android, iOS world is like, this is great. Thank you so much. And then constantly people are like, oh, I'm on PlayStation. I can't do cross save. I can't take my character and go right into my phone. One of the things that just, I haven't had an immense amount of time this last week to play games. I've actually canceled my streams this week because I'm in crunch for work, trying to finish this API project, and made a lot of progress because I'm not streaming. Yay. But, the fact is I can be downstairs at the end of the day, whether I'm on my PC, I can pick this thing up and I can go and I can just continue my adventure. And all of a sudden, just that ability and the fact that PlayStation is not allowing that has me wonder, is Nintendo going to allow that? We saw Nintendo be a part of the cross-play, cross-save with Fortnite, Genshin Impact, if you guys aren't aware. It might not be the game for you, but hands down, when I'm seeing people from IGN tweet out, like, all hands on deck, we have to play Genshin, the amount of people who are watching my Genshin Impact videos, I was like, wow, this is right now a phenomenon of a game, obviously supported by over like $100 million marketing campaign. So the fact that we're talking about it is that Genshin, the publishers, are spending money so that people are, it's in their face and talking about it. But that flexibility makes me go like, what the heck, PlayStation? And I know I'm going to have some PlayStation fans that are like, it's fine, I'm happy to be locked down in my own environment. And I can't understand that mindset, especially when you think about it as a free-to-play game. If you spent money on this game, Chris, and then I told you, by the way, if you want to go play on PC or everywhere else, we're all over here having a good time, oh, you have to start over. How would that make you feel?
I mean, I just wouldn't. So, like, it's simply put,
Okay.
like, there's too many games out there. I'm not going to play the same game through level progression twice.
Right.
If World of Warcraft deleted my account today, I just wouldn't go back. If Final Fantasy deleted my account today, I just wouldn't go back. Like, I just don't need that. And that's effectively what it feels like. It feels like I would sit down on my PlayStation, which is more enjoyable than my phone. It is. And I would sit there and I would play with my Vita, or I'd play with my controller on my TV. I have a TV in my office, so I'm not bothering my wife or anything. But ultimately, my question is like, you're playing this game and I'm going to treat it not as an MMO per se, but like an MMO light, which honestly, MMO lights, like action RPGs are MMO lights. Most of the time is spent alone. Most of the time is spent outside of group content, not seeing other players. So it sounds like there's a multiplayer component, but action RPGs are more like, okay, I mean, you can link up with your friends at a certain point. Like Final Fantasy XV falls in that. Diablo games fall in that, where like most of the time you're going to be by yourself doing your own thing. And where that fits into my life, right? I play 14, I play WoW. Where that fits into my life is when I'm not in this office. And so like when my wife and I finish a day's work and we want to sit on the couch and have, you know, a TV show we've seen a million times on, and we want to just kind of talk about our day, and we have idle hands. And so like, you know, she'll sit there and read a book on her Kindle and take a break and we'll talk for a bit, and I'll sit on my phone and I play phone games. And that's where this game fits. And like, I would mix and match where like, hey, you know, I'm done for the day and I got like an hour until my wife's done for the day because she's gonna have to work late today. I'm gonna play on my PlayStation on the Premiere experience, because I don't have a PC. I have a Mac and it's not on Mac yet.
Right.
But then you told me, okay, but when you get done with that hour and you want to go sit out there, it's not going to count. At which point this game has to go heads up against WoW and 14, where I have hundreds and hundreds of hours invested. It doesn't stand a chance. Warframe doesn't stand a chance. ESO doesn't stand a chance. It doesn't matter how good they are. It doesn't mean that when I say they're good that I'm lying. It's just that when you play an RPG, it's about building something. And so the idea of building something from scratch or building on something you've already started, this thing has to be so good to stand a chance against the place that you already have an account.
So how far are you in the game so far?
So I am AR level 8. I have 4 heroes, and I don't know what all these terms are, but I have 4 little people, and
4 little people.
I got and they're all level 10. I have like these little experience cards. I could probably boost them to like level 15 or 20, but it looks like 20 is going to be like a soft cap, and I'm going to get stuck there until my account level gets high enough.
Yes.
So I didn't see any reason to rush up to that and like use up my experience cards, only to have like experience that's dropping out into the world mean nothing.
Yeah. I've hit that a couple times, and it's like, oh man, like this character's at 20, and now I'm getting character experience. I'm like, I'm not getting character experience, and so that's kind of a little frustrating.
So they're gonna later ask me like, well, we can make up for those cards you used if you just buy them, and I don't want to do that. So I went and I just followed, like, I got stuck on this like side quest where it was like, go kill this gauntlet of things, and then go kill the next gauntlet, and then go kill the next gauntlet. Well, the gauntlets were getting harder, and so eventually I was at this gauntlet where like everything, it was like multiple level 15 mobs.
Yeah.
And I was, oh crap, and I'm all level 10s, and so they're wrecking me. Thankfully I'd gotten, like, I kind of treat this like an Elder Scrolls game where like I gather everything all the time, and every time I come across a cooking fire, I cook everything. And so like I have just this absurd, like there's an invisible donkey following me around carrying like packs of food. So like I was struggling through this fight, and it was like I was like boom boom, and then they would trap me in this fire, and it's like, you can't switch characters right now, and I'm like watching my health. I'm like, but I can eat, so I can't switch characters, but I'm like nom 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 nom, like just. And so like,
you can't kill me, I have endless apples.
Yeah. So I can't switch characters, but like I can take on these 2 like fire genies by just eating all of the food. But I was like, okay, we can't go to the next gauntlet because that used up like, I don't know, like 40 skewers or something, and that's not a sustainable plan. So we'll go do the main quest again until I'm strong enough.
Nice. I think one of the things that kind of just impressed me about what I've experienced so far is it feels very refined. I've been like anybody who's followed this channel knows I'm very hesitant when it comes to the free-to-play model. When they announced PSO2 was coming here, I was like, free-to-play, oh man, I wish they would just like let me just buy the game. It's that good. But overall with PSO2's model, with even Genshin Impact's model, I don't have a gambling problem, thankfully. And so my advice when I as I reevaluate what free to play in the market means, my advice is if you have a gambling problem, don't play these games. But if you are responsible with your money and whatnot, I think you're going to have a great time. So far, I haven't had endless hours to play, but I'm almost rank 16 AR. That's when the multiplayer aspect opens up. I've probably put in anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, like nothing much over the course of the last over the last week. I've been able to play like a couple handful of hours here and there. But nothing like, man, where I see people are like, they're at cap. And I'm like, oh, I wish I was at cap. I really want to, like, I have that motivation to get there, but I don't have the time to do it right now. However, that experience that I've had so far just kind of leads me to go, how free can I play this game? How free can it be? And not that I have any kind of issue with actually supporting it, especially let's say I get 40 hours or 60 hours into this game and I haven't spent a dime, like, oh, I'm kind of running that as a test. Like, is the game truly free, or is there a spot in the game where it's like, well, in order to really progress at a normal rate, we're going to, like, they're not going to just all of a sudden suck out all the XP and all the fun unless I decide to buy some book or something of that nature. So I decided I'm going to like dive in. I'm going to see how free it truly is. And then at that point where it's like, oh, cool, I've done all the things that I need to do. I've beaten the story. I've, got these characters. What does that ultimately translate to? Like, because that I think will be an interesting experience for a lot of players. But at the end of the
odds are you just need to weigh it. Odds are you just need to look at what the package is going to get. Not all the packages are going to be equal.
Right.
I play Lords Mobile on my phone, and that's a free-to-play game. And I've been playing it for about 3 months, and I don't feel I've had to spend anything. I feel your experience would be substantially better if you would buy the hero that they had on sale for 99 cents. So after 2 months, I bought that hero. It was a huge jump for just 99 cents, ridiculous jump. And then now I'm feeling like at the end of 3 months, it's like, okay, now I'm starting to get to where I'm doing like competitive stuff against other people. And it would really be a lot better if I would budget out spending like $5 to $6 a month. Now, there are people who have been playing less time than me that are spending $40 a week. So like, it will take whatever amount of money you would have put in. I'm just telling you that everything after the first $6 each month is really just impatience. Like, it's just a lack of I want things now, and that's fine. That's their whole business model. But like the first $6 like quadruples your output. And so it's kind of like in 14 where it's like, you can get 5 times the tomestones, and every time you do your weekly raid, you get gear for all of your jobs off the first $5 each month. And then after that, it's like, oh, and then I can pay for 1 additional drop, and I can pay for 1 additional tombstone and 1 additional. It's like, no, don't do any of that. But definitely pay for that first step where it's just a flat multiplier to everything you do.
Oh, it gives me such like fear for like that's the risk. The risk is that when you see these free to play games, that it's like all of a sudden becomes how can we profit off the backs of gamers who might not know any better. So my advice, if like especially any parents out there watching,
it's
don't hook your credit card up to these things. Like, as long as your credit, like the thing is, because I still have those conversations with adults that are like, how did you spend $600 on V-Bucks? It's like, don't hook your credit card up to it. It's like, oh man, like Maddie and
the caveat to that is you've played Final Fantasy XIV for 7 years. 10 years. Has it really been that long?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I know you're on veteran, super sorry about 1.0 prices.
Yeah.
So you're spending $13 times 12. It's $156 a year.
$10 a month times 12.
Oh, okay. 120.
Yeah.
Plus every other year you're buying an expansion. Okay. Which is what? $50?
Yeah. 40. Yeah. 60 if you go with the collectors, which I do.
So you're spending $140 a year times 10 years. You've spent roughly $1,400 on 14.
Money well spent.
Not having ever bought anything cosmetic from the store or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then you have retainers. And you would need to add that to the 1,400.
No, I just have 2.
Okay. So like you can see how 14 is an expensive game. So monetization models is just about understanding what you're going to get for it and how long it's going to take to pay back in whatever your version of currency is. Is it hours spent? Is it hours of fun? Is it hours with a friend? Whatever your currency is, that's what you need to get back. So like I play Warhammer, and Warhammer 40K, like these little models here can be anywhere between like 50 cents and $70 each.
Wow.
Like it's a huge range. And like I'm getting to a point in an army where like all the models I need for that army that I would ever add to it are like $18 to $40. And so like I only need a couple dozen more models, but a couple dozen more models is hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
To get into this hobby, $200 minimum, $500 would honestly be better. Expect to spend $1,000 to $1,500 in your first 18 months. It's expensive, but this hobby's been around since the 70s. There are people who I regularly play against who have models from the 80s and 90s. So they've gotten 20 or 30 years out of a model. So like, yes, it is very expensive, but it's a one-time cost. So it's just about understanding like, okay, if I give you money, whether it be a microtransaction or a subscription, whether it be a ticket stub at a movie, or I'm going to go buy the movie at a retailer, what am I getting in return, and how long will I be allowed to enjoy it before I'll be asked for more, and how much enjoyment can I get in that window? And that's the trade. I'm paying them for entertainment, and as long as I get that entertainment back, I don't care about microtransactions at all. I don't know if that's what this conversation is meant to be about, but like,
no, it's really kind of just defining the worth of the game.
Like, I think one of the big complaints is going to be that it's free to play.
I think that is going to actually come from a minority of gamers, just by sheer volume. When you look at 3 billion gamers worldwide that have been trained on free-to-play models, it's all about like training, right? Like the gamer who is most opposed, like I would put myself in that category, who's most cautious and concerned about the free-to-play model, is the gamer who grew up paying $50 to $60 per game, having that game and having the game ask me for no other money. But prior to that the value came from there, because you'd go to the arcades and you could spend $50 or $60. I remember doing arcade birthdays as a kid, and it's like, you got so many tokens, and then, it's like you could play these different games that you couldn't experience at home. And then all of a sudden the home started to offer that competitive, like, hey, you can play that same game. You can play Killer Instinct here at home. Like, this is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. I used to pay per life over here. That's evolved. And so I look at that as the generation that's more like, I don't know. But then when you go look at just the numbers alone, like I think overall people are like Fortnite. When you look at Halo, like the industry in and of itself is continuing to shift down that model. And one of the conversations that we'll have to have down the road is the conversation about Blue Protocol. If you guys haven't seen Blue Protocol, anime, beautiful, free to play. And that's probably going to be rocking out in 2021. And that's going to have more of that mobile, and not mobile, but the MMO association. And the question is that will we see Blue Protocol based off of the fact that, like, when you look at Fortnite, when you look at Genshin, when you make a game that can be played everywhere and enjoyed everywhere, that's a competitive advantage over anything else. Like, I think 14 has a competitive advantage because it's on PlayStation and on PC. And opens it up. It says, hey, Chris, you can play here or there. Imagine if you could sit here and we've talked about it, you can play on Vita for Final Fantasy XIV. Imagine if all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to go do some gathering on my phone on 14, or I'm going to go just do some crafting. Like, maybe I'm not going to do a raid, but if nothing else, like, it opens you up. And I'm thinking that hopefully we'll start to see more of the industry take that shift and go for go down that road. We'll have to ultimately wait and see. My question to you though is that, from what you've experienced with this game, because I want to weigh in as well, but from what you've experienced, is this game worth it to, at least, if not to spend money on, but to at least try? Like, if you were talking to Itai, if you were talking to our game night group, would you say, guys, you should really check this out, or are you still on the fence?
So I will tell you that it's paced like a long-running ARPG or like an MMO. Up until this point, it has taught me how to double tap the jump button so that I can glide. Combat is a single button with an occasional special ability. The upgrade system is, this sword has a higher base damage than that sword, because like there isn't really any other unique stats at this low of a level. So like up until this point, like I personally wouldn't get in unless you just feel like you want to be part of the conversation. So if you have friends that are talking about it, that's a great reason to just like, I just want to be aware. Like if Brian and I film the next Casually Hardcore, we've talked to some people, and the people that we're talking to bring Casually Hardcore back with are people who I know for a fact are playing Genshin. And if they're playing Genshin and Brian's playing Genshin, there's about a 99.9% chance that the conversation goes that way. And like, I don't want to sit there like a bump on a log for that 15 minutes that they're talking about this game. And so like, this is how you fix that, is you go play it. So like, if that's the case, that's a great reason to play it. If you plan on just kind of investing in it, that's a great reason to go play it. But just to taste it, just for your own, I will tell you, it's the same, and I don't mean this as an insult to Genshin. It's the same flat experience that going and playing the free trial of WoW or going and playing the free trial of 14 would be. It just isn't the whole game. It isn't. And when you first download it, it lets you play like a demo version before you download the whole thing. So like when you first install it, it installs super fast. You hop in, you create your account, you do your demo, and then at some point it says like, hey, you got to do more. And at that point it wants 4 gig. And depending on your internet rate, for me, that's pretty quick. I have like 100 something down, but I know that not everybody does. And make sure you're on Wi-Fi at that point if you're using cell data. Because 4 gig would be a real bummer. So yeah, that's my opinion. I know you're excited about it, and I think that's awesome. Yeah. But I can't tell somebody new that they're going to have that same level of joy if their plan is to only hop in and get to level 10.
Yeah, I don't know for that player, but that's where it's like when it comes down to it, I look at a free to play on the worth of it, and it's like it's worth. I would say it's definitely worth your time to try to see if it's something that you enjoy. I really enjoy the characters. I like how they're presented. I like how they play. Having multiple characters now and kind of experimenting with that, there's such a depth that I find in the combat system itself that the only thing that has frustrated me over the last week and a half is just not having time to play, just not having that ability, and to be able to take it from PC and not that I'm gaming on my phone like an hour. I'm saying like, 15 minutes. Like that's enough to go and, okay, I'm going to go gather some things and just kind of like see where I'm at quest wise. And okay, yeah, it's just like my days have just been super packed these last couple days. But all in all, like guys, hopefully let us know if you're enjoying Genshin, if you're on the fence about Genshin, if you're afraid of it, like any and all comments, welcome in the comments below. It's an open discussion. Chris, thanks so much for downloading it and playing it. Hopefully you get to 16. I get to 16. We can actually come back and give you guys updated thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'd like to make it that far. I don't know what the max is.
I think it's 30 right now, but they're already talking about patch 1.1, adding more story, more characters, more lands.
So player level 30, are my characters also bound to that? Or
No. So at 15, you get the ability to send your characters to level 40 as their cap, and there's 5 ascensions. So I think they go all the way to 100. So your character level can end up being 100. Then you have your gear, then you have your artifacts, and they can all be upgraded, and they all have star ratings.
Okay.
So there's a lot, essentially, what the game offers from a base. Like, it's just like, whoa, here's like... And it dulls it out right now because like now I can do all these other things, so it doesn't overwhelm you with like here's the 500 things you can do today.
No, it's like an
yeah, it is paced like an MMO.
Here's one thing. Mm-hmm. Here's one thing.
Introduce this concept.
Introduce this concept. Yeah. Right. So. Right. And honestly, that's the way most directions are going. So like when I play Lords Mobile, like my wife looked over, she goes, I don't even understand what you're doing. And it's because there's 27 systems, but like I've been playing for 3 months. Like each one was added every few days. So it really wasn't overwhelming.
Now, if you guys are still here with us, let us know. I just want to say thanks to all our channel members. You can now leave emotes on comments. So if you guys look at the comments, you can actually hit the little like smiley face and actually use our channel emotes. We are on a quest to get 100 members. We have the $dollar club entry point, and if we can get, I think we just need 25 more, and that will open up a new slot so we can add more emotes. So guys, thank you so much to all our members. And we're getting close to being able to have some new slots, which will be really great, and hopefully you enjoy your emotes. Hopefully they open that up even more. YouTube is kind of like in this really slow process. I can't even respond with my own emotes. Like I have to go.
They should MTX it. They should let us put in 99 cents to double the number of emotes we get.
I'd pay for those slots because I've got the emotes. Don't
give us that option.
No. All right, guys. Well, anyway, thank you so much for the support. Thanks for checking out this video. And check out the links in the description if you are looking for more Genshin guides and news. So anyway, Chris, thanks so much for joining. For Work to Game, my name is Brian.
My name is Chris.
I hope you have a fantastic day and hope to see you in our next video. But until then,
take care.
This video is sponsored by me, Ginger Prime. Hopefully you'll check out my podcast channel, Ginger Gaming Radio, which we have lots of guests, lots of great conversations, and even more highlights. Links are in the description below. Let me know what you think. Thanks.